is in entrepreneurship, it becomes 10 times more important because if you wanted to become the best hardware engineer or software engineer or lawyer, or there are a whole bunch of industries that you need to be book smart, you need to be genius in what you do, and you can be very single-minded, only one thing you can be really good at. But in entrepreneurship, if you really want to lead a team or if you want to make an impact in the world, your soft skills play much more important role. And you can find other people who are good at what you're not good at, but you cannot replace your soft skills.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of it and my practical use of it. It's something that I notice I do. But I do it subconsciously, and I think it's also a skill that I developed during the years, maybe related to EQ, maybe not. And it's the way I talk with people. I notice that I adapt myself to the person I'm talking with. So I'll talk in a certain language, use certain terms with this individual, and with other individual I use a completely different street level even sometimes jargon, just because I adapt myself to the person, and not like in the way, I think we already touched on it in one of the episodes, not like in a way of being fake, being still genuine, but adapting yourself in your range. I mean, make sure it's in a range that you are comfortable with. I wouldn't go outside of the range that I'm comfortable with at any cost. But you do have a range, and you can expand it as you grow your EQ probably. So that's a great tool that I use that helped me connect with a lot of people on a more deeper level, because I can adapt the way I talk to fit to their narrative.
I totally understand what you're talking about. And that range that you're mentioning, it gets bigger and bigger as you practice. As you meet more people, you get really diverse. And it comes down to people don't remember what you say, they remember how you make them feel.
Exactly.
And when you are good, you have high EQ, you know how to make people feel good in any situation. So you talk to somebody who's a graphic designer, and then you talk to someone who's in Wall Street finance, and then you talk to someone who's a nerd. There are three different personas, but you know how to make them feel good. You know how to communicate with them.
Just make sure you are within the range where you are comfortable. Don't ever get outside of the range. Don't try to be someone that you are not, but test your range. See where your range starts, where it ends. Know, how you can adapt.
That's the art of being super confident in your authenticity and yet being adaptable to the outside world and not losing yourself.
Yeah, because if you're going to talk with everyone the same, I think you're losing out on a lot of connections that could have been built in a more substantial manner. You're not one-dimensional. You have more than that. So pay attention to it. And this is a soft skill you can actually grow. And it's something that I don't think I would have been able to do like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I think that's something that was built over time.
The only way to get improve on it, I feel like, is getting out there, meeting people, getting to different situations. That's the muscle that you exercise that way. You can't be at home studying on YouTube or going to college for soft skills. It just doesn't happen. You have to create those social structures. And people who've been in bigger social structures, I think when I think about Middle Eastern families, because they have cousins and big families gathering, quickly you build that social structure skill or social skills versus somebody who didn't have that in their life.
Yeah, but it's all about exposure, as you say. So even if you didn't have that, go talk with people, build out your confidence. Don't do things that are outside of your range, outside of your comfort zone, but do learn and be aware. Be aware is already 90% of the way, I feel. Be aware of good intentions. Don't be transactional. I think we always mention here on the podcast, don't be short-sighted and transactional, because this will get you eliminated for so many people straight off.
The perfect example I have from my experiences, I think in the podcast I mentioned this. The team I work with overseas, they're a team of developers, and they may not be the most genius people. I'm sure there are, in Silicon Valley, there are people that can beat us on that end, on the hard skill. I may not be the most genius entrepreneur out there. So there's a lot of vulnerability in the hard skills. I make up for it, I think, with the soft skill of me making them excited about the work they're doing. I constantly ask them how are they feeling about the project. I try to understand what's their angle. They may not be driven by money. What is it they're looking? And that's my soft skill playing in the game of creating a team that's passionate about what they're doing, not just a contract. I feel like that would be my advantage.
Yeah. So there is a great book I recently